Right, so this is the Darius Acuff build, a guard in this upcoming NBA draft class that is currently hooping in March for Arkansas. So if you wanted to make him, this is how I went and made the build. So I went 6'3", 192 pounds, and I did go 6'6" wingspan. He's probably closer to the 6'7". I know, I said it 6'7", but I'll show you why. So I went 76 close shot, 88 layup, 75 dunk. 91 mid-range, 93 pointer, 84 free throw, 91 on my pass accuracy. I went 88 on my ball handle, 86 speed ball, 74 perimeter D, 73 steal, 86 speed, 83 agility, and then of course 67 on my strength and 63 vert. So all the other stats that I didn't mention are just going to be pulled up. They are the lowest that I could have gotten. Now, the only thing that if you wanted to add even more realism, 75 dunk I will say is probably a little high. Maybe even like 65 or 60 around there would be fine. But he does get some aggressive dunks at times. And I will say with my vert right now, I'm not dunking the ball much. Obviously, the flaws of this build is the defense. Now, you could use cap breakers differently than I did. However, I just accepted my fate, and I went with the more realistic version of this guy is an offensive engine. It's the name, Speedy Offensive Engine. So I wanted to really be able to represent and replicate his offense. And I think positioning can do wonders in this game if you are also smart enough to take charges instead of trying to be in position and get a block or even hoping that you don't get dunked on. You can take charges in this game that most people don't. But again, if you wanted to, I'm going to show you the cap breakers. You could go 3 on your block to get a 63 block, and even 2 on your interior D to get a 60. So that's 5 right there that you could use to actually boost up the defense. Or if you wanted to actually boost a lot of the defense, this build does provide a great template or format where the cap breakers are really good. I mean, you see, you could put 4 into your perimeter D and get an 86. You'd only have to put 4. You could put 3 in it and go from a 73 to is that an 86 steal. So I mean, you see, like you could with 7, with 11, you could get really good defense. Not to mention the agility, you could get really high value for agility. But I did again go the playmaking route and the offense in general because he is fast. You know, that's one thing that people knock him for is his lack of explosiveness, but he is really quick with the ball. He's got a deceptively quick first step, and so I really wanted to see that in the game. Now, if you wanted to just stick with 86 and +2 and get lightning launch on legend, you could do that, but I chose a different route. 93 gets me a lot of badges, handles for days, unpluckable, and ankle assassin or whatever it's called. And then I'll eventually go and try to get 96 pass accuracy for bailout. But if you want to stick with 90, that's perfectly fine. 96 mid-range, I would say, is a must, though. You get Hall of Fame Shifty Shooter, you get Hall of Fame Deadeye, you get a bunch of other badges. But this is the way I went. On my cap breakers, this is what the amount I have. I think I had 16 with my 2 from the build specialization, which my build specialization I went was playmaking, so I'm almost done with that. But the part that I think a lot of people are here for are the animations. So the jump shot, again, is not going to be perfect because there are no perfect jump shots outside of pro play, in my opinion. However, I do believe Chris Dunn is the best base for him. I think that's the case. Now, if I'm mistaken and you come up with one that you think is better, make sure to drop a comment and let me know. I went with Jordan Clarkson Dame 50-50. However, this is one of his few releases, I would say. He has different follow-throughs, and so this is the one where he really recoils his arm back, his shooting arm back. But if you wanted the one where it's the emphasis on his right hand sticking up and staying up and also his pinky out, I would go with the Colin Gillespie Isaiah Joe mix. So Colin Gillespie is the release that gets his pinky out for sure. Now the problem is that Colin Gillespie's form is weird. It really pulls the ball out, like it doesn't really bring it close to his face, and you can really notice that when you're in the corners or on the wings. And so I didn't really like that, but it gets that follow through out, and that follow through is perfect for him. Other than his offhand does go lower, he doesn't really bring it up all the way with his shooting hand. It's kind of hard to find that, but again, this is just what I'm going with right now is Dame and Jordan Clarkson. But again, if you have one that's different, I'm not the best at this. I don't do this like a lot of the shot fix guys do. Like there's a lot of guys, Menace Productions. I'd love for him to do this because he's really good at it. But that's what I'm using now. Malik Monk for the free throw. You could also use Jalen Green. I think that also gets pretty good for him, but that's what I'm using right now. Malik Monk, I do like his go-to shot for him. Looks a little Allen Iverson-esque with that little crossover. Does also get a three-pointer off of it. He likes going to his right, especially on pull-ups, and so he gets that right leg out whenever he shoots these pull-ups going on the right, and so Reggie Jackson and also that Malik Monk go-to shot kind of show. Hop jumper, I like that Chris Paul animation. I like that Dame animation. I don't even mind that one. And then I also like that one. However, that's the one I typically get, the one going in between the legs. And the one going right, you only get whenever you're going straight downhill, like right at the basket. And so I just like that Chris Paul animation more. And I do like the functionality of the one going left more than the the downside, what I'd have to give up going with Dame with functionality, but also there's just animations that just don't look good for him. But Dame, if you're better than me and you can get the right animations, Dame would look really cool. Again, layup, I went Kobe White. I like Tyrese Maxey's floater for him also. And then these are the dribble animations I'm using right now. These are all subject to change. I try my best to do what he does or make them look similar to him, but I'm not a dribble head like that. And so if you have any other obvious fixes for any of these that you would say, no, he for sure looks like this when he does this crossover or when he does this step back or whatever, make sure to drop a comment. Let me know. I'm going to do my best to make a mixtape with all this stuff, especially during the March Madness run. But if you like this build, make sure to drop a like. Comment any other college players that you're watching, especially in the tournament right now, that you want to see a build video for. And with that being said, peace.